I said I'd do it. I said I'd be here every day. So I'm here, and my head's a bit too low. So how's that? That's better, isn't it? So I'm here. I'm late, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. None. I just said I'd be here. So I guess we're going to carry on with the model of NLP. And yesterday we spoke about a core idea within the model. So I am a system of patterns. Those system of patterns have been being laid down as a foundation for who I am as a person in terms of the behaviors that come out. And those patterns, those ecology, that ecology of patterns, stimulated to run based on triggers that are external to the system itself. So outside of a person's conscious mind choices. So I have very little choice over these patterns running. I get into a certain context, signals coming in, stimulate patterns, which generates behavior. The way I speak, tone of voice, all of that stuff. And once we understand that, we can start putting it together with the idea that NLP is the study of the structure of a person's internal experience. So we're accepting that each individual person is creating their experience in the moment. They are having data coming in, that they are filtering that data, but ultimately it gets encoded into a simulation or into a map of that experience. And there's a unique way that every individual is doing that. There are ways that they are putting the pictures together with the internal dialogue, still images, moving images, clusters of images, sounds coming from a certain direction. All of that is encoded inside the memory. So looking back on the history of NLP, it started off with two inquisitive, curious men, Professor John Grinder, who was at the time Professor of Linguistics, and Dr. Richard Bandler, who at the time I think was undergraduate. And one of these men had a particular talent at emulating others' behaviors, mimicking other people's behaviors. And the other guy was looking at transformational grammar. That was his area of interest. And a long story short, they developed a method for studying people who are producing outstanding results in the world. You know, people that are performing way outside the parameters of others within their profession. And they studied initially Fitz Perls, Gestalt therapist, Virginia Satir, a systems family therapist, and Milton Erickson, Dr. Milton Erickson, who was a medical doctor who had pioneered some conversational hypnotic ways of working. And they studied these experts, these mavericks, these outliers, and they found a way to represent the internal choices and decisions and the internal structure of how these geniuses were generating the kind of outcomes that they were generating in the world. Now, remember what I said, a model is not the thing itself. So even though they've generated this model of what might be happening inside the experience of the genius, it's not real, it's not true. It's only useful if it produces similar results to the maverick. But those results are going to be filtered through your own neurophysiology and your own experience. So it's going to be unique. Anyway, So they came up with this way of modeling to the point where you can extract a pattern that someone else might find useful given a similar context. And ultimately, that is what has led to NLP today being viewed as a set of techniques, a set of things you can use with people who have blank issue, whatever. All right. It's a mistake because NLP is not all of those patterns. No, all of those patterns are the fruit of NLP. NLP is about modeling outstanding examples of what it means to be a human, but also every person we have in front of us who are presenting with some kind of problem have a unique way, a unique structure, a way that they are producing the behaviors that they end up labeling as habits, problems, limitations. Right. So I don't know where that leaves us. I think I've arrived at the end of my description of the model of NLP, how the history of how it came about, what it fundamentally is and isn't. I think probably going forward, tomorrow's live, Thursday and Friday's, what day is it? Yeah, the next 2 days live, I think I will focus on how I began to use this model in the context of being a midwife at the same time. What are the connections between the model and ways that I behaved? And I think that will demand us looking at the meta model of language and the Milton model of language. And I think I'll start doing that tomorrow. So for today, that's a 6-minute live stream. That's it. That's all I'm doing.